Dacia used to be a joke in the automotive world, but now they are probably your favourite budget car brand. After being mocked relentlessly on Top Gear just over a decade ago, they have since gone on to make some of the best affordable cars in the market, not just the cheapest. The Sandero is now no longer the cheapest brand new car for sale in the UK, with the Kia Picanto pipping it by about 200 quid, but this just shows the progression that Dacia has been on and the value they offer. So how, in less than 30 years, has Dacia gone from being owned by a government to the definitive budget brand now being owned by a massive manufacturer? This is the story of Dacia. Dacia were founded in 1966 by the Romanian government, and in 1968 their factory was built. They bought a license to build the Renault 12 and the Renault 8, which they sold under the 1100 name. Over 37,000 were made in the first 4 years, and in 1969 the first 1300 was produced. It also had pickup and estate variants. From very early on, Dacia had a good relationship with Renault, making versions of the Estafettes van and the Renault 20. The 1310 replaced the 1300 in 1979, and sport models were produced, which were popular at rallies and with racing drivers. The 1304 replaced the 1302 in 1982, and it was very popular, leading to over 300,000 being sold across many updated models until 2006. The 1410 and 1210 were brought in 1985, as well as the 1320. The range was refreshed in 1992 with an updated 1320, the 1307 and 1309 emerging. The 1310 had facelifts in 1995 and 1996, but waned in popularity as the new Nova began production in 1994. Sales were initially slow due to it being outdated as development began 11 years earlier. It gained popularity though, as it was improved in 1996 and it sold well until the new millennium. By this point, Dacia had sold over 2 million vehicles, and the last update of the 1310 had taken place. By 2000, Dacia was also under new ownership, with Renault buying the brand in 2000, beginning to invest more in the Romanian manufacturer. This was first shown in 2000 when Supernova replaced the Nova, and it utilised the engine and gearbox from Renault. The next signs of a takeover were shown with the death of models rather than the introduction of new ones. The 1310 ended production in July 2004 with over 2.5 million 1300 series vehicles being made, making it by far the most popular car on Romanian roads. Also ending production was the pickup truck under its various guises, after over 300,000 were made in total. Whilst this represented a big change for the brand, it was what Dacia needed to progress and make cars that could make them popular across Europe and not just in Romania. In 2004, there was a big change for the Eastern European brand. The Logan launched in 2004 and went on to be their most successful model since the 1300 series. Designed by Renault, the first generation cost less than €6,000 in its most basic trim. Due to its popularity in less economically developed countries, it began being sold in Western Europe in 2005 and was popular. The facelift came in 2008 and is made in 9 manufacturing plants across the world. Also being sold by Renault, Nissan and Mahindra, the first Logan was immensely popular as there were over 2 million sold. The versatility of its chassis was shown by the fact it was also made as an MPV, van and pickup truck. Arguably Dacia's most famous model, the Sandero, was also developed by Renault, showing their influence, and it was originally launched as a Renault in Brazil. It was launched as a Dacia in 2008 and was very cheap as it was sold in markets like Chile, Iran and Eastern Europe. It was updated in 2011 alongside the Stepway, which Dacia began making in 2009. The first gen Sandero sold well, achieving over 100,000 sales a year, excluding the first one, and it was a success, but the second generation was what really put Dacia in the limelight. Before this happened though, the Duster made its way into production. From 2010, Dacia sold its first crossover, and it came with the option of a front-wheel drive or Nissan's four-wheel drive system. The facelifted version went on sale in 2013, a year after it went on sale in the UK, and became Dacia's most popular model in the country. This was a recurring theme as it was very well received, winning Top Gear Bargain of the Year in 2012 and being nominated for the European Car of the Year award. Sales were consistently very good, and it was also sold as a pickup by Renault and rebadged and sold as the Nissan Terrano in some Asian markets. 2012 saw big change for the brand as they moved into new markets such as the UK. There was also a change to the lineup, with second generations of the Sandero and Logan making it into production. These new cars shared the same front end and many other design features. They also had updated infotainment systems and new safety features to meet updated European rules. They were both facelifted in 2016 with design changes to the front and rear end, such as LED lights for the first time. The facelift also brought the Logan stepway, a jacked up version of the Logan similar to the Sandero stepway. Both models sold well, especially after the facelift, with the Sandero selling over 220,000 in 2018 in Europe alone. In 2017, the new Duster was revealed, with production beginning shortly after. It used the same chassis as before, but had all new body parts and was much more upmarket. It featured keyless entry, blind spot warning, and hill descent control. It was praised for being good value, although its basic features and cheap materials were evident. The 2021 facelift saw it get a new design across the whole car. Back in 2020, the Sandero and Logan third generations began, with more safety features and less polluting engines. The Sandero got the 8-inch touchscreen from the Logan in the higher spec models, and it got features from others, such as parking assists with cameras, keyless entry and hill start assist. The whole range was updated last year, with the brand new logo, new grille, and new headlights. So that's where Dacia are at now, with sales at nearly 575,000 last year. They haven't quite recovered from COVID, but their sales have been growing since then, and with the current economic crisis, more affordable brands will likely do well. Added to this is their more premium offerings that are coming into production, which should help them to take market share from other companies, while still offering budget options for those just looking for the lowest prices. The new Duster was just revealed, and it is going into production next year. With a new chassis used by Renault and Nissan, it also has some interesting engines. The petrol versions can use petrol or LPG, and there is a mild hybrid using a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder and a small electric motor, or a 1.6 with 2 motors. With a larger screen and clever 3D printed accessories, it is definitely more comfortable and less basic than before, and it will look to paint the Romanian brand as affordable rather than cheap and basic. The Jogger and Sprint Electric show Dacia are moving into new markets, and the Bigster, which is due for release in 2025, will be their flagship model, as it looks to be a more sophisticated version of the Duster. This just shows the progression of Dacia. They had only just begun selling cars in the UK 11 years ago. Now they are making cheaper alternatives of similar quality to big established brands with loyal customers. It just goes to show the impact Renault has had on the brand, but this has also been beneficial for the Renault group as well as Dacia, as they became more relevant, arguably, than the French brand themselves at the moment. Despite overall Renault Group sales stagnating and even falling, Dacia has been consistently growing, and it just goes to show that affordable, well-built cars are popular, and that premium models aren't the be-all and end-all, despite most manufacturers focusing on complicating and therefore increasing the price of all their models. So the joke that once was a relatively small Eastern European car brand is now becoming a force to be reckoned with, taking market share from giants and becoming the people's champion of the automotive industry.